Toronto FC is off to the MLS Cup final for the third time in 4 years against familiar foes, the Seattle Sounders, this coming Sunday at CenturyLink Field. Welcome inside the final Painting the Picture presented by Benjamin Moore. Marie Papadakis here getting you all set up before the final. Toronto FC punched their ticket to the MLS Cup final after taking down defending champs Atlanta United, claiming the Eastern Conference crown at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The hosts got off to a fast start, breaking Toronto's offside trap in the 4th minute of the match through Pity Martinez and Julian Gressel to open up the scoring. Just minutes later, Atlanta looked set to double their lead from the penalty spot, but goalkeeper Quinton Westbrook came up with a massive stop on Joseph Martinez to keep the deficit at 1. The crucial save proved to be a spark for the Reds on the other end as Nicolas Benezet bagged his first MLS Cup playoff goal in the 14th minute to equalize with an unstoppable curling strike from outside the area to beat Brad Guzan. The score remained level into the second half until super sub Nick DeLeon fired in a superb strike from distance in the 78th minute to secure the win. The Reds went on to raise the Eastern Conference trophy in Atlanta, but focus has quickly turned to the ultimate prize of lifting MLS Cup once again. Although it wasn't the prettiest 90 minutes of football we've seen this season, after conceding possession 60 to 40% to Atlanta on the night, Toronto FC yet again found a way to come out with the big win. Each man on this squad has proven that no matter the circumstances, they will step up and play their part. Having played the last 2 playoff matches on the road in tough stadiums, the Reds continue to show their opponents what they're made of and will be looking to do the same against familiar foes this weekend. The Western Conference champions, the Seattle Sounders, are also coming off a big win on the road as they took a 3-1 result over the Supporters Shield champs LAFC at Bank of California Stadium. The Sounders also conceded first on the night but battled back to knock out the favorites on their home turf. Seattle's attacking flair was on display with their South American superstars leading the way as Raul Ruidiaz and Nicolas Lodeiro powered Seattle to another Western Conference title. This marks the 3rd meeting in 4 years between Seattle and Toronto, marking the trilogy MLS Cup final. In 2016, the Reds fell short 5-4 to Seattle in penalty kicks after seeing out a scoreless draw. In 2017, the Reds exacted revenge as Josie Altidore and Victor Vazquez both found the back of the net in the second half, crowning Toronto FC MLS Cup champions for the first time in club history. And it'll be 2019, the year that tells all between these two teams. Let's now throw it to Gareth Wheeler and Terry Dunfield for further analysis on the upcoming MLS Cup match.
Thank you, Maria, and look who's back just in time for the MLS Cup final. It's the one, the only Terry Dunfield, back from Brazil with his beach bod and all. Yeah, right. It's a miracle he came back in one piece, and Josie Altidore says it's a miracle if he's able to play this coming Sunday. That means Alejandro Pozuelo is going to lead the line again as a number 9. He provides the goals and the assists, and Terry, a much different way of going about his attack.
Yeah, it looks as though TFC will probably play with a false 9 with him in that role. And how do you utilize Pozuelo's qualities? You've got arguably one of the best players in MLS, and you know as him playing in that false 9 role, he's going to drop into midfield, and you want him at times picking the ball up in the gap facing forward, and whether it's a cross, a shot, or a slip pass, there's going to be something good at the end of it. But to create that gap, it's important that our 8s press high, step high, to lock up that back line, threaten and running in behind. And if you look at the goal against Atlanta, that's what happens. Pozuelo comes short, Simon's facing forward. He decides not to go to Pozuelo, but Jonathan Osorio makes a great run in behind, locking up Escobar. He takes the Atlanta fullback with him, which creates a bit of space for Benezet, a nice diagonal to him. He's now one-on-one with Gressel, who's a winger, and after that it's taillights. But that movement from Jonathan Osorio to really lock up that back line is what created that space for Benezet.
It's a good show, Terry, because the chances created in Atlanta, they were few and far between, but there were really good chances that were created from positive movement, both on and off the ball. And that's going to have to be the case against Seattle as well. They look eerily similar to the team in 2016, 2017 that we also saw in MLS Cup. It's a very difficult system to break down, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, especially defensively. Brian Schmetzer organizes his team in this awkward middle block that gives them space if they do win it to break in behind. And we saw that twice in both the goals they scored against LAFC. What Seattle tried to do is really lock you down one side. I think it's going to be crucial that TFC pick their moments when to go down that side and try to catch Seattle unbalanced. I thought they did that earlier on in the second goal Josie Altidore scores in Seattle. There's a nice gap. TFC find a player facing forward and then threaten him behind, and it's a good finish from Josie.
I look at Seattle as being rather predictable. Toronto FC, I mean, your guess is as good as mine how this team will line up in 2017. Vanny famously threw his team into the mixer, played a completely different system against Seattle, and they played them off the pitch. And with players like De Leon, Lorea, Gonzalez screaming for a spot in the team, it's going to be very difficult to predict what they actually look like come Sunday.
Yeah, there's options there, and there's a fluidity. And I think one thing that's great about this TFC team is it's battle-hardened, and there's a real iron will that whatever comes their way, they find solutions, this group.
I think there's going to be a wrinkle. That's the Wheeler prediction for this weekend, that Greg Vanny, the magician, is going to be able to pull another rabbit out of his hat. Back to you, Maria.
The Trilogy MLS Cup kicks off this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch the match on TSN or join me at RS for the official viewing party. Doors open at 11 a.m., so make sure you guys get there early because seats will fill up quickly. Thank you to everyone who stuck with us all season long on Painting the Picture presented by Benjamin Moore. See you guys on Sunday.